The amount of people who use a NordVPN and fuck up their account is ridiculous. If I got a penny for every single time NordVPN fucked up a TikTok setup, I would be probably close to Musk. I would be a trillionaire as well, without an IPO, huh? Welcome back, my fellow denizens. We are TikTok farmers. We are back to the farming protocols, chapter 5 out of chapter 4. Now, we've already covered a bit of the chapters. We talked last chapter about setting up your Apple device and why is it important not to share the same Apple ID across multiple devices. Well, today we're going to talk about something really, really important: VPNs, proxies, and ISP. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give you a special surprise near the end where I'll tell you exactly the provider we use for these services right now. I have been using them for a while after testing a lot of different providers, and I can guarantee you they work. All right, beautiful guys. Let's talk about VPN proxies, ISPs, not waste a lot more time because we want you to be putting out content on TikTok and farming ASAP. Most people start with a VPN. That is a mistake. Now let's look at VPN, the common mistake. The amount of people who use a NordVPN and fuck up their account is ridiculous. If I got a penny for every single time NordVPN fucked up a TikTok setup, I would be probably close to Musk. I would be a trillionaire as well, without an IPO, huh? Please do not use a shared IP pool. Guys, remember, TikTok is going to be flagging you if you F up in any small way. If you go out there and you're using an IP pool, which probably dozens or hundreds of other people are using to do the same thing as you're doing, well, high likelihood of obviously getting flagged. So do not use the same shared IP pool. I know there are NordVPN fans in here, but I do not personally like them. Got enough accounts flagged through them. I will tell you what are we using towards the end, and that's probably going to take care of a lot of your issues around what VPN do I use or what proxy provider do I use. Then we have in line the beautiful products. One of them is residential IP, which is ISP bagged, fixed IP, appears like a home user. It doesn't rotate aggressively. Now, acceptable if you're getting it from a decent ISP provider. We use this a lot of times as a fallback method just because it allows us to be online 24/7. And then the beautiful mobile proxy, also the most expensive. It's like charge fuck tons. So if you're just starting out, I'm going to push you to residential ISP. If you've already got a setup lined up, you're already printing off it and you can afford it, then get a mobile proxy. What does a mobile proxy do? It basically replicates a mobile proxy, or what would happen if you actually had your phone being used in the US and you were moving between different locations. It keeps switching the IP naturally. It mimics a real mobile user as close as possible. So in terms of leverage points, number one, mobile proxy, then residential ISP, then a VPN. Don't touch a VPN. Again, do not touch it. Beautiful. Okay, so in this order, no exceptions. We're going to be moving to the next one. Now you understand how to rank up your VPN, residential ISP, and mobile proxy. Now, a lot of you, what you do is you use the IP fraud tools out there to analyze whether your IP is clean or not. Well, I do not. I call them, they're usually called detecting IP. They detect if your IP is valid, if your IP is fraud, Well, I call them IP fraud tools, and I'll tell you why. Now, people obsess over these tools. The amount of times I see this posted on X where you show me your IP quality score, your scam analytics, your IP fighter, fraud logics. We realize, okay, a lot of people are talking about these. Let's try pivoting out of the ones we use already and let's see if there's anything valid about these tools that are being put out there, right? What we do is we highlight 10 accounts and we track their IP quality or, fraud ranking on all of these providers, which are listed over here. Once we do this, then we try to find a correlation between what the fraud score or the scam score for that IP is and the performance of the content on these accounts. Now remember, the same content is being put on all the accounts. All the variables are the same timing, same content, same way of warming up, etc. And the only thing we are testing is whether these IP fraud tools work or not. Well, guess what we discovered? I don't need to tell you the answer because you can read it right there. But apart from that as well, if I'm gloating so dearly about it, then the answer is zero correlation. Zero, a big fat zero, guys. High fraud score does not mean you're going to get a low reach. Low fraud score does not mean that IP is not flagged and you'll get a high reach. Now, these things are just built to make money. TikTok doesn't use these scores. We've tested this. If you want to run the same test, do this. Take 5 of your accounts, track their IP quality score, write the score down, and then go and put content at the same time, in the same manner, same kind of content on TikTok, and see what happens, right? Does your score alter because of IP quality or IP fraud detection? It will not. I can give you my word on this. If it does differ, come and have a talk with me and I'll invite you to a nice coffee or a beer or whatever else the F you want. But I can give you my promise, it will not. Okay, so IP fraud tools are useless. So we give them what we give them every single time, which is 2 big crosses, because we don't want the crosses, right? We want the ones that are going to work. Let me draw a crown somewhere just because I haven't done one in a while. Okay, that is a very thorny crown. It's like Game of Thrones repeated. Do not wear that, otherwise you'll break your head. Boom, let's go to the next one. Now, TikTok cares about 3 things, as I mentioned before: beautiful girls dancing, ASN, and geo. Nothing else. Now, your ASN should resolve to target country, at install, at creation daily, at every post. Your geo should resolve to the target country as well. Consistency over time is non-negotiable. And if either is wrong, your accounts will never stabilize. Never. I'm going to tell you what these mean and how can you know what your geo and what your ASN is. BGP, ASN, and geo explained simply. Don't worry, every time I go around explaining this, I have to Google all this shit again and again and again, all over again. But ASN, think of it like a passport, right? So it determines who owns your internet connection, or where is the internet connection coming from. Now, if you're sitting in India and you're trying to push content to the US and your ASN is owned by Reliance or Airtel or one of those Indian providers, it doesn't really work, right? There's a big mismatch. So ASN is your passport, which determines who owns the internet connection. Give it to US Mobile, give it to one of those US players, and it works well. Then geo is your face. I'm so happy there's a face here. I can finally draw on it. But geo is your face, right? The country TikTok believes you are in right now. Geo is basically short for geography. It's going to help you determine what is the country which TikTok thinks you're posting from. So what is the country where your internet provider is from? What is the country TikTok thinks you're posting from? And then BGP is your routing map, which is another layer which showcases where the traffic originates from. Right, so very clear. ASN is your passport, geo is your face, and BGP is your routing map, or what pattern or what path is your traffic picking. TikTok is going to cross-check both. It should be saying throughout, like how do you say 3 and both together? I don't know, but TikTok cross-checks all of them. Mismatch will lead to a suspicion, and I'm going to show you how do you make sure there's not a mismatch. Now, what I'm going to be showing you next is a little test I want you to run before you put out a single piece of content on TikTok, before you even open TikTok, right? You got your phone, everything's set up, warmed up nicely and stuff. You're going to now start posting content. Before you even put out a single piece of content, make sure these things are aligned every single time. I'm going to show you how to do that. And towards the end, I'll also share the secret about what proxy we use, because otherwise you'll just start messaging me on X about what proxy am I using, and it can be a lot at times, guys. So I want to help you out right here. Tools that lie versus tools that matter. Now, we've already talked about the IP fraud dashboard, the blacklist checker, the risk score tools. These do not tell you properly about the risk you should be assessing. Now, use only, I'm going to pick my golden marker for these because these are super golden. One is bjp.he.net. Magical thing is going to tell you your ASN country, and it does it at a super accurate rate. We have used it over and over again. I can guarantee that this is the best source of this form of data you can get. I'm sorry, I was busy drawing my crown. It's drawn right now. And then remember what geo was? Geo was like your face, which means you need to make sure your face and your ASN is properly aligned. And this was the joke I was playing. You've got a crown, now you've got a face on it because geo is your face, and it's a happy face because you check all these marks. Bam, check mark, check mark. Okay, so tools that lie versus tools that matter. Leave apart the IP fraud dashboards, the blacklist checker, the risk score tools. Use only 2. bjp.he.net, it's going to confirm the ASN country for you, and geo.brdtest.com/mygeo.json. This will help you confirm your geo country. These are the two things you need to do before you open TikTok. Make sure they're aligned to whatever country you're targeting. In this case, if it's US, make sure they're aligned to the US. This way you do not flag your farm even before opening TikTok. Verify both before opening TikTok. If either is wrong, fix the IP, get the IP exchange, make sure you're using the right IP, make sure VPN is on, and then go into it. Never test anyway. Never play the fucking game where you think, oh, I'll just try opening TikTok and see what happens this time. And then you come back here and you're going to be like, I listened to this on Anne's YouTube video, but I didn't follow it. Now my account is flagged. Oh. I'm kidding. You're not going to try like that, but you get the point. Please do not test it like that. Try opening up both these channels, seeing what happens, and then coming back to them. Okay, guys, done with the chapter 5. Trying to keep them short and simple with stuff you can actually use. Remember, ASN plus geo is crucial. Everything else is just noise. I'm going to share the secret thing I talked about with you as well, the secret little sauce. Now, you all want to know what VPN or proxy / let's just call it proxy. I like the name better. You all want to know what proxy do we use, right? Now, I'm going to tell you. We have two big proxies we use. One of them is called BD or Bright Data. BD or Bright Data, right? It's really hard to write with this marker, guys, but it's beautiful to draw with it. Now, one thing, BD is an enterprise level proxy, which means you need to be verified before you use it. They ask you to do a KYC before. And if you are smart, you'll figure out what to put in the KYC. I'm not going to leak everything here. If you need to figure it out, message me on X. I'll help you out with that. Then the other provider we use is Decodo. D-E-C... Okay, it's pretty hard, guys. I'll just... D-E-C-E-O-D-O, Decodo. Well, that's my rough way of drawing it. Now, Decodo also works really well for us. Both of them, we use mobile proxies from them, and we also utilize their dedicated ISP proxies, work quite well. Neither one of them gets us flagged and has been verified by using on every single account we have actually, and also other founders also using it. What might happen is, these things keep changing. So at some point, if they get too famous or a lot of people start using it, it might decrease the quality of the traffic. We have been using them for the last 1 year and it hasn't happened so far, but I can't hold a guarantee about what the future might bring. So yeah, these are the ones we use, guys. This is the secret I'm going to leak out to you. Remember, if you like what you're seeing here, share it with your friends, family, brothers, sister, cousins, close relative, further relatives, anyone you can think of. And I also want you to tell me how you're finding these sessions, right? Drop something in the comments. Would love to hear from you. It's kind of like me talking with my friend across the camera who I can't really see and can't really imagine. So would love to have that. And next week, we're going to be looking at targeting the US from outside the US. Now, why US? It's because we know that's where the money is. That's where most of the monetization happens for mobile apps or any other product out there. We're going to talk a bit about that, safe setting, time zone rule, posting windows, red flags, etc., etc. I'm going to use my marker a lot next week as well, I swear. So yeah, I'm going to see you next time, guys. Thank you so much for being here. And remember, lesson learned the effing hard way, sharing so you don't have to. Cheers. Bye.